Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today I'm looking at some Dynasty stashes. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. First player, Jordan Mason. So, of all the teams in the NFL, I feel like the Vikings are one of the least likely to add to their backfield in the NFL draft. I just kind of want to review Mason's performance from 2024 and remind people about how good it was. So, last year in 12 games, 153 carries, 789 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5.2 yards a carry, and 11 catches for 91 yards. He was very efficient as a runner on the 49ers. He was leading the league in rushing yards for a while, and he looked really good. So you might ask, why did the 49ers trade him away? Well, it's because he was getting a little bit more expensive, and I think that they're targeting another running back in this year's class. They just want to start that cycle over again. Now, why do I have Mason as a dynasty stash? Well, he had strong advanced stats. So he had 4.8 true yards a carry, a 7th among running backs. Very strong. Breakaway runs, 7.8% rate last year. Very good. That's one of the top marks. And then Aaron Jones turns 31 in December and has minimal contract guarantees beyond 2025. Both Jones and Mason got 2-year deals this offseason. Neither deal has much guaranteed in 2026. So depending on how 2025 goes, both, one, or neither could be back in 2026. Now, the Vikings have only 4 draft picks in this coming draft. They could take a running back on day 3, but I doubt that they take one early. They don't have a 2nd-round pick, and I don't believe they have a 4th-round pick either. So they have other needs. They spent a lot to keep Jones. They spent a lot to get Mason, both in terms of picks and contract. So a running back is very low on the list of needs for the Vikings. Now, Mason's not young, but if he ends up being really good, he could still gain dynasty value. I'm not saying that you should necessarily buy Mason, but I do think this is someone who maybe during rookie season when he's forgotten about compared to the incoming class, maybe you could get him for cheaper at that stage. Now, my next player, Cedric Tillman, who has, if I'm not mistaken, literally vanished from discussion. Vanished completely. Tillman got hot for a few weeks and then he disappeared. And now the narrative around the Browns is that they're going to take Travis Hunter in the NFL draft. Browns general manager Andrew Berry came out and said, Travis Hunter is a wide receiver first. I believe him. I'm going to take him at his word that Travis Hunter will be a wide receiver first, not necessarily a wide receiver only, but a wide receiver first. So what that means is that people have forgotten Tillman. So I wanted to revisit him just to kind of go over it. So in 11 games, he had 29 catches, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 49 targets, 2.6 catches, and 30.8 yards a game. But this is not relevant, right? He basically did not play until Amari Cooper was traded. In those first 6 games, he had 3 catches for 9 yards on 5 targets. He barely played. He was not a part of the offense at all. Then he played 4 full games after the Cooper trade. He averaged 6 catches, 75.5 yards, and 10 targets a game with 3 touchdowns. That would have paced for 102 catches, 1,284 yards, 13 touchdowns on 170 targets over a 17-game season. Obviously, that is not realistic, but we can't ignore that he played well for a period of time. In the 5th game, he suffered a concussion and never came back. It was one of those things where my guess is if the Browns were winning, maybe he would have come back. But there was no point in having him come back, and the Browns wanted to lose anyway. So he never came back. Now, why is he a dynasty stash? Well, he's forgotten about. I mean, Cedric Tillman is literally basically off the radar. Now, he was a strong incoming prospect. I liked him. In 2021, he dominated. He had 1,081 yards, 12 touchdowns in college at Tennessee. He did struggle in his final year in 2022, which is why he fell down the draft to the 3rd round instead of maybe the 2nd round, where he would have been if he declared early. Just goes to show, if you can declare early, you should. Now, Tillman's still just 25 years old this offseason, so he's not old. I mean, Jerry Jeudy broke out on the same team at 25 this year. So, again, is this a player that I'm going out and buying? No. Is this a player that in rookie drafts, if someone is clamoring for the 401, would I rather have Tillman, who has already been good in the NFL? Absolutely. So I'm mentioning these players because, and we might do another video on pricing after the draft. these are the types of players that I might be looking to buy with my later picks, because that's a way to exploit having a bunch of later picks. Now, we're going lower here. So Will Shipley. I really like Shipley coming into the NFL. Unfortunately, we didn't see much as a rookie. In 16 games, he had 30 carries, 82 yards, 2.7 yards a carry, which is not good. 4 catches for 35 yards. He played in mop-up duty. Ironically, his best work was actually in mop-up time during the NFC Championship. He had that one really big long run, if you remember. Now, why do I have Shipley as a dynasty stash? He was a really strong college prospect. He totaled 526 carries, 2,747 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 85 catches for 602 yards, 2 touchdowns across 36 college games and 3 college seasons. Immediately at Clemson, he got involved as a true freshman. Difficult to do, right? Clemson's a great school, and he was involved immediately. He played 3 years, involved in all 3 years. He declared early for the NFL draft and was a 4th-round pick. Now, Kenneth Gainwell left in free agency and was replaced by A.J. Dillon. I think Kenneth Gainwell, if I had to choose, is better than A.J. Dillon. So if they don't add to the backfield, Will Shipley could be someone who could, be like kind of an under-the-radar RB2. Now, again, is this a player I'm excited for? Not really. But this is the type of player who might get cut post-rookie drafts to make room, and this is not a player I would cut. I don't want to cut 4th-round running backs who were good prospects in year 2 just because it didn't go well in year 1. This is going to be a player that's going to remain on my roster at least, for the offseason, for the rest of this offseason. So that's why I wanted to mention Will Shipley now. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT. You can get my Dynasty and rookie rankings, all my rookie content, access to the Discord, all my write-ups, direct message fantasy advice, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Now, there will be rookie content on the YouTube, starting with the live show that I announced for night 1 of the NFL draft. And then there will be rookie content covering the rookies post-draft. There will not be what there was last year, where there were, I don't even know, an ungodly number of videos. I'll probably do 1 extra week of content right after the NFL draft. And then we'll go back to the same Monday, Wednesday, Friday recording schedule like usual. So if you want my complete rookie content covering every player, that's going to be done on the Patreon. It's on here. I'm going to cover the players that I really want to talk about or have an exciting take, or, I'm not going to be complete on here. It'll be only for the Patreon, where I'll be covering every player. Tiers begin at just $5 a month, $250 with the discount. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my Why You Should Join the Patreon videos on the channel. There's going to be another one releasing on Sunday. So I'm going to have to prepare that, where I'm going to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. And I don't know. I find that the thing that helps the most is just being honest. I enjoy doing these YouTube videos, but, I love doing the Patreon. I will never stop doing the Patreon. The Patreon will exist forever. I'm never going to stop doing the Patreon. The Patreon's existed many years longer than this YouTube channel has. I could see a point at which I just don't want to do these YouTube videos anymore. I go back and forth with YouTube burnout. I've never felt like I don't want to do the Patreon anymore. I'm going to do the Patreon forever. So if you really like my content, that's the place to go where you get the most passion out of me. I try my best on the YouTube, but, do I sometimes do videos because it's time to do the video instead of, I'm so passionate about this? Yes. Do I wish it wasn't that way? Probably. But these YouTube videos are there to market the Patreon, which is what I really love doing. I love interacting with the people, but I can't give that away for free. Otherwise, there'd be no way to make this into the career that I want. So Again, I appreciate your consideration. There's going to be a longer version of this on Sunday. But once again, I appreciate everyone who actually listens to the Patreon promo instead of fast forwarding through it. And I'll move into my next player. So speaking of players who benefited from the Jameis Winston Browns explosion, Elijah Moore also on the list. But unlike Tillman, Elijah Moore is now a free agent. So in 17 games, I think this would kind of shock people. He had 61 catches, 538 yards, touchdown, 102 targets. That's a lot. 3.6 catches and 31.6 yards a game. Like Tillman, Moore basically did nothing in the early part of the season. Amari Cooper being there and Deshaun Watson playing held him down. But in the final 11 games, the non-Watson games, Moore averaged 4.1 catches, 40.3 yards, and 7.2 targets a game in those final 11 games. The 7.2 targets are solid. It's 122 target pace. Now, I am stunned that Moore has not signed. He's still young. He's earned targets throughout his career. And I do think he's going to sign somewhere post NFL draft. He's still just 25 years old. He's like a few days apart in age from Cedric Tillman. He earned over 100 targets in both years on the Browns. Again, targets are earned. They always have been in the NFL. So I am very surprised that Moore has not signed. I do think post NFL draft, there are going to be some teams that whiff on a wide receiver in this class. I like this class depth-wise, I guess, at wide receiver. I don't think there's very many wide receiver ones. I think there's a low number of even wide receiver two on not fantasy wide receiver two, wide receiver two on an NFL team. And then there's a lot of maybe could be like a wide receiver three on an NFL team, not fantasy wide receiver three type players. So someone like Moore is going to be in demand, I think, later on. And I do think he's going to sign, and he might have some sneaky value. Again, this is a player who might get cut if he hasn't signed yet during rookie drafts. I would not cut him, and I would potentially pick him up off waivers. Now, my deepest player, Emanuel Wilson. So this is the deepest of deep stashes, but I like to throw those in from time to time. Now, if I asked you to guess how many carries Emanuel Wilson had in 2024, I think almost everyone would set that number way too low. I actually did not believe this number when I saw it. Wilson got 103 carries. It's funny, I don't remember any of those. I don't know why. I guess he wasn't on my radar. But those went for 502 yards, which is a lot. 4 touchdowns, 4.9 yards to carry, 11 catches for 48 yards and a touchdown. I think people will be shocked by these numbers. He was the Packers' clear RB2 behind Josh Jacobs. Now, something interesting about the Packers. The Packers have had, a lot of teams have had running backs visit. Almost every team. This is the one team that has not had any running backs visit. Zero running backs have visited for their 30 visits pre-NFL draft. Zero. So what does that mean? It means that the Packers are very, very unlikely to spend a day 2 pick on a running back. Any team can draft a running back on day 3. We can never rule that out. That can happen any year. But, this is not going to be a team that's adding a significant running back. Now, Marshawn Lloyd did nothing last year. He played 1 game, 6 carries for 15 yards. There were, I don't even know how many injuries. I mean, there were so many injuries. He was an older prospect anyway. Prospect I didn't even like anyway. So, Emanuel Wilson, this is the kind of thing where this is the deepest of players. If he's cut in a league, I would pick him up. I'm not sending picks for him, but just a player that was more involved in 2024 than you might think. And, he was good on the carries he received. So keep him in the back of your mind as we head into rookie drafts. So I'm going to do some Patreon questions and then we'll wrap up the show. So the first one, is it a good strategy for draft for value in rounds 1 and 2 and draft for need in rounds 3 and 4 in rookie drafts? Not really. Not the way that the question is being asked, right? The answer is no. However, I will say that generally in rounds 3 and 4 of rookie drafts, running backs in the lower range on day 3 are better bets than like wide receivers on day 3. So it often works out that the way that I do my teams, I have a lot of round 3 and 4 picks, and I happen to need a lot of running backs. But if it doesn't work out that way, if people reach on the running backs, then I'll take a wide receiver who falls. So the answer to this question is no, but sometimes it does work out that way. But no, I'm not forcing picks for need in rounds 3 and 4 at all. That doesn't factor into my process at all. How do you approach constructing trade offers? How and why you do it, some do's and don'ts will be helpful. Maybe walk through such a scenario. To be honest with you, I find this the hardest thing to teach. I have given up on trying to teach this on the YouTube. There is no interest in that content from me. It just takes too long. It's too complex. It does not hit in the YouTube algorithm. So if you notice, I used to do Dynasty trade videos on here. I don't even do those anymore because they're just not, people are not interested. They're just not. So I find this even hard to teach on Patreon, to be honest. I do it a little bit at the M tiers. How do I do it? So in general, I try not to overcomplicate things. You're not going to see me do a lot of offers with like 100 picks or like 5 for 5 or something. But I don't know. I mean, I'm either focused usually on, I have a focus, right? I'm either focusing on, I want to get rid of player X, and that's the focus. And I'm focusing on, I'm going to send a bunch of offers where I'm eliminating player X that I don't want for my team. Or sometimes I focus on acquiring player Y, and I'm sending offers to do so. Sometimes they're in the same offer. I'm eliminating player X and also getting player Y in that same offer. But in terms of constructing, I'm willing to do any type of trade offer. I mean, I'm willing to do ones where a 3 for 1 where I'm getting the 1. I'm willing to do a 3 for 1 where I'm getting the 3. I don't limit myself to a certain type of trade offer. I will say the one thing that you won't tend to see me do is send a bunch of future picks, especially future firsts, for like meh assets, even if the value is like okay. For me to send a future first away, the value usually has to be extremely in my favor. But outside of that, I'm kind of open to anything. So yeah, this, I could do a whole video on this, but I don't think anyone would watch it. I've tried to do videos on that and no one's watched it in the past. And then kind of the opposite in this final question. How do you adjust the strategy to draft and trade for value in leagues that don't have high volume of trading going on? Okay, this is actually a good question. I get this one a lot as well. I would say that you still draft for value. You can't make trades happen if they're not going to happen, right? You cannot force it. What I am not going to do, is make bad trades just because. Not doing that. I don't care what the league is. That I'm never doing. So if I'm not going to do that, then, is it the kind of league where if there are really no trades, if the two positions are very close, would I draft a running back if I need it? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's very situation dependent. It has to be close. But yeah, I mean, I factor this in. Like, this is not going to be the league where I draft 8 quarterbacks in the startup. I know that's not going to work in this league. That's not going to accomplish anything. But sometimes you do that and you didn't know that the league wasn't going to trade at the time. So in general, it doesn't affect my strategy all that much. But, maybe around the margins, around the edges, it would affect my strategy a little bit. But again, this is really league dependent on like why there's not a lot of high volume trading. So yeah, but overall, no, I still want to get good players. I still want to draft value, and that strategy is not going to change. Now, if you liked the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content that drops, including my live show during the NFL draft. Of course, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty content year-round, and it really is year-round. I'm active in the Patreon every day, 365 or 366 days a year. And there's a 50% discount at all tiers using code TylerYT. You can sign up in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice. And every sign up helps support my independent content. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.